Hi, my name is Brett Linkletter, CEO and founder of Misfit Media, the best damn restaurant marketing agency on the planet. Here at Misfit, we help restaurant owners grow and scale their business through strategic online marketing practices. Right now, you're listening to our podcast, Restaurant Misfits, where we'll discuss all things related to restaurant marketing, management, and everything else in between growing a restaurant business. This podcast is also brought to you in collaboration with Total Food Service. For over 30 years, Total Food Service has provided the restaurant and food service industry with exclusive interviews to the latest news on products, trends, associations, and events. You can sign up for a free monthly subscription by visiting TotalFood.com today. And from all the misfits over here, we hope you enjoy the show. Cheers. In this episode, I interview Samantha Slager and Camilla Opperman, who are the founders of Nimbus Kitchen. Nimbus Kitchen is a premium and flexible commercial kitchen solution offering state-of-the-art licensed facilities, end-to-end, and operational support, and also a luxury communal working space to the members at Nimbus Kitchen. It's a really cool concept. It's kind of like a ghost kitchen commissary slash hybrid of the two. And it's really interesting how they got into this business. Both Samantha and Camilla have two totally different backgrounds, and together creating this partnership seems like it's been a really, really amazing thing for them. They actually just launched this about a week ago, so super exciting for them. Also really cool is they're in their 20s, and I believe this actually is my first podcast interviewing someone else also in their 20s. I'm only 28. And it's been really cool to see. It's been really cool to explore the opportunities that they've been diving into with this business. And in this episode, we talk about all kinds of things, from the problems in the restaurant space currently, the problems that they're aiming to solve with their new business, where they see the restaurant space going, and a number of other interesting topics I think you'll love. And so without further ado, let's dive right in. What's going on, Samantha and Camilla? How you guys doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having us. We're really excited to be chatting with you.
Absolutely excited to have you guys on the show. So you guys have such an interesting history, and congrats on the recent launch of your new project, Nimbus Kitchen. I know you guys launched just like last week, right? You said on Monday?
Launched Monday. So it's been a little bit more than a week and a half now. It's been a crazy rise.
Crazy and anticlimactic at the same time. COVID launches are interesting. Yes. Well, we couldn't do a launch event or anything in person. So it felt like, it was just different than what we had anticipated it would be, but it's been really exciting.
Okay. So tell me what did you anticipate, and then what actually happened?
I mean, I think we were planning on having, a full launch event and bringing in chefs and people in the community, even having the people that helped us build the space, being able to host them in the actual space and show them around, was something that we really were hoping to do, but things have changed, and we'll have people in this space eventually that aren't working in it, and we can show them off.
Would you call the launch a success though? I mean, did it go well and everything?
It's been a massive success. I think it has really exceeded our expectations in pretty much every facet. The reception that we've had from our restaurant and food business partners has been really positive. Even the reception from the community and people who aren't necessarily, using our space for cooking has been incredibly positive. We took over a space with pretty significant retail frontage. And when we did the big unveiling and peeled back all of the construction paper, we've had people knocking on our windows, seeing what we are, thinking we're an art gallery or a cafe. And so we've been really able to engage with the community, which is something that
got it.
We always knew that was kind of a value of our space and part of, the community we were looking to build. But I think that's been certainly a bigger success than we necessarily even anticipated.
100%. And then for everyone who's just listening to for the first time, maybe first hearing about you guys for the first time, tell us a little bit about what is Nimbus Kitchen.
Yeah, at a very high level, we are a licensed commercial kitchen that we rent out to food businesses on a very flexible basis. So we rent our kitchen stations for as little as 4 hours at a time. We also have dedicated kitchen rooms that can be, that can be rented on an annual basis. So, we have very much like the back of house kitchen space, again, renting out those licensed kitchen stations. But then we do also have a community front of house space. That area is really meant to be an interface between the restaurants that we have as our members and the community at large. So it's a place, in a post-COVID world where we'll hopefully be able to host gatherings here, dinner parties, tasting events. But, right now we're really using that as a pickup spot. So as a consumer, you can come up, you can order food directly from all of the restaurants operating in our back of house. And then, ultimately, again, you'll be able to actually enjoy it on premise as well.
Wow. So I think I read somewhere, you guys are kind of like a hybrid of the commissary and ghost kitchen, right? Very cool. Very cool.
Exactly. And again, like, when Camilla roped me into her genius idea, I was essentially just the end consumer, right? I was someone who was consuming food on delivery apps and had no idea that, half the time my food wasn't actually coming from a restaurant that I could eat in. I think that was like half the challenge that we were faced with in opening, and why we really wanted to make sure that Nimbus had a component that like the end user could interact with and see what is happening and where their food is being produced, and feel confident that it's being produced in a safe and clean environment, and know the members and the people. So
very cool. So Camilla, it was your idea, then you brought it to Samantha and you guys partnered on it, essentially? Is that kind of how it worked?
Yeah, so I don't have a traditional hospitality background. I was working in supply chain operations, building out warehouses. And, I after a couple of years of doing that, I knew I wanted to get back to my love of food. In college, I'd run a late night snack shack, which was essentially making grilled cheeses and selling them for 25 cents to drunk college students. But I'd really loved that experience. And I wanted to go back to those roots and launch a food concept. And in the process of trying to find licensed kitchen space to actually, produce the food out of, I was really disappointed with the options that were available to me. I'm based in Manhattan. Obviously, renting a restaurant in a place like New York City is incredibly expensive, so couldn't afford that. I looked into operating out of a ghost kitchen. This was early 2019. There were no ghost kitchen operators in New York City. The operators I did speak to, and they were largely based in LA, were still quite expensive. They were also requiring year minimum commitments. They were taking a percentage of sales. I didn't feel that was particularly feasible. Then I did explore kind of the shared commissary kitchen model. I toured a number of those operators out here in New York City. They were generally in quite remote locations, places that I couldn't necessarily get to, didn't really fit my model. And there also wasn't a place for me to, in any of these solutions, really to promote my brand. And particularly as I was starting out, I thought that was really important. So, came up with this idea of Nimbus, of doing a blend between what most people think of when they hear ghost kitchen, those longer term dedicated rentals, and then the commissary kitchen, so those shorter term hourly kitchen rentals. I knew I needed somebody to help me with the sales and marketing side of the business. That's definitely not my forte. I kind of live and breathe in Excel, and I'm more analytical than creative for sure. So I was really lucky to be introduced to Sam. We got a coffee, which, I think both of us thought it would be a kind of get to know you kind of meetup, and ended up with us being co-founders of Nimbus. So I think if that's any indication of how the coffee went, and the ideas that were shared then,
that's so awesome.
I feel really lucky.
How old are you guys, by the way?
I'm 29.
I'm 27.
Wow.
Freshly 27, just turned 27.
She's a young.
Wow, that is so badass what you guys are doing, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. It's fun to also create. My background is also very different. I'm not in hospitality. I worked in fashion, and then started my own like launch marketing firm, and helped a lot of businesses grow and saw the successes that they had in building my own business as well. But Nimbus has been so different because it's when you actually build a physical space, it's such a different feeling, being able to actually physically see the fruits of your labor is really exciting. So
Sam, are you still running your agency, the launch marketing firm, or that's
no time for that? It's full-time Nimbus. I actually had a dream last night, because now all of my dreams are surrounded by kitchens. But I had a dream that I walked into this space and it was in full demo. Like everything had been torn out. And I was like, actually, this is so funny, because as soon as we opened, we realized like, okay, now we're only just started. Now we have all the other facilities to build out. So we're going to be in demo mode again. And it was fun dream.
That's awesome though. That's awesome. So how do you guys connect? I know you said you met for a coffee, but was it through a friend or somehow?
Yeah. Through a mutual friend. His father works with Sam's father, and that's what the connection was.
And Camilla was starting out, and they were like, well, maybe Sam can connect with her and give some launch marketing advice, because that was my background. And again, really had no idea what to expect upon meeting her, but fell in love with the concept and her, and it's been a love affair ever since.
No, you guys seem like best friends. It's such a good partnership. This is awesome. And the thing I always tell people too is, like, whenever starting a business, right, I always recommend, you generally speaking, don't want to start a business with a friend, but someone who you could become your best friend, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's
it seems like you guys have done that. Yeah. But then also you guys too, it seems like you're both so different. So it's such a good yin and yang kind of mix, which is also a really hard thing, right? I mean, so it looks like, so Sam, you're more the marketing sales side, and then Camilla, you're more maybe like you have the operations kind of side, right?
Exactly.
That is,
we have very complementary skill set.
The money combination. That's money. It's awesome. I love it.
The money team, we got it.
Yes.
No, I think it's interesting. We met to just meet, and we made the choice to be partners in this, and I think we spent a lot of time just kind of workshopping and doing things together, just because we were both excited about it, versus an obligation. And we also got to learn the way we work from a very early on stage, and we only joined forces because we knew it was right, and we had kind of proven our work
dynamic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we definitely have very complementary skill sets. Sam is the creative brains behind the operation, 100%. I completely credit her for coming up with this idea of this community front of house space, which I would say is one of the biggest value adds of our business, not only to our restaurant partners, but then to the community at large. I'm definitely taskmaster in Excel, crunching the numbers. It works really well.
We call her Turbo.
Turbo. I love it.
Sam wakes up and there are 60 emails in her inbox from me just blasting out emails.
The Slack channel and my text messages, and oh my God. She's got Turbo.
No, I love it. That's amazing. It's kind of like me and my partner. I mean, I'm more the sales guy. He's more the operator. So it works. We've been in business for the last 5 years. So you guys, it's a good combination.
Kudos. Well, we should be around in 5 years as well.
That's the plan for us as well.
I'm sure you guys will be. So you guys also, it looks like you raised some seed money, right? How did that go? How did that process go for you guys?
That was, I think any entrepreneur will tell you that fundraising is definitely a grind. I always joke, I don't think I've ever been rejected so many times as I did in the fundraising process. You have 200, 300 conversations. And, ultimately, particularly in a pre-seed round when it's just an idea on paper, right? I think we were really lucky in that some of our early investors have really believed in us and helped us with a lot of our operating questions and have made a lot of introductions for us. And I think that's one thing that we've really taken away is having really, really strong investors who believe in you from a strategic standpoint and can kind of help on that front. So, I mean, we closed our pre-seed round in February of 2020, right before COVID reared its ugly head in the US. Pretty lucky timing on that front. We're in the middle of a seed round right now as well, which I'd say, given we actually have a physical space and we can show people around, has definitely, I wouldn't say it's been easy, but it's certainly been easier than that initial pre-seed round when it was really just an idea.
100%. No, I bet. And so obviously, as you guys were approaching these investors, I can understand, hey, before you even open this, it's just an idea. It's tough, right? What were some of the main selling points for investors with you guys that got them to jump on board?
Yeah, I think particularly, on the commissary kitchen side, and having these really affordable and flexible kitchen stations that can be really a great solution for any kind of food business. And that's really been a core of our business model, is that we are so flexible and so can be a solution for not only delivery only companies, but for catering businesses, for food entrepreneurs. I think a lot of investors saw the value in that universe and in that, total addressable market of we can be a solution for every kind of food business. I think, because food businesses are legally required to sell food in licensed kitchen space, I think a lot of investors kind of understood that there's kind of the legal obligation and building these kitchens out is incredibly capital intensive. And so if we can offer a more affordable and capital light way of entering the market for these businesses, that's been a big selling point.
On top of that, like the way we've split up our actual facilities where we have these longer term members helps us to really like secure our profitability when the shift operations in kitchens is a lot, well, I wouldn't say volatile, but it's definitely a different kind of system. So I think that's also been an attractive thing for our investors. Totally. Also learning who the appropriate investor is. I think that was something that we've definitely been learning as we go. And it's like in the beginning, we were having conversations with, we still are, like anyone and everyone, but at the same time, we really know who can understand our concept and who's the right fit for our investors.
Totally. And that's the other thing too, is like, yeah, you want to get the money from the right person who can also help you in some other ways, right? So that's amazing. Really cool, guys. Well, again, congrats on that. That is amazing. That's so cool. So I mean, one thing I always hear in the restaurant space, and even I had a podcast before this, and this guy Jamie, who's a chef, said, hey, and people say this all the time, but they say that the restaurant model is broken. They say it's a broken model. The cost of food isn't going up. And it needs to be going up with all the rent and space and labor. It is really difficult to run a restaurant now. So I mean, it sounds like you guys are approaching this at the right time. I mean, because a lot of people are talking about this. So there's a lot of panic almost, especially because of COVID, that panic's risen even more. Was that also, I'm assuming, another selling point that you guys have been capitalizing on? Like the restaurant model is broken. Yeah. And if you agree, what are some of the broken things you see currently in the restaurant space?
Absolutely. I think particularly when you think about delivery and these third-party delivery apps and how those systems currently operate, it's incredibly inefficient kind of from every perspective. On the restaurant side, traditional restaurant infrastructure is not well suited for delivery in the slightest. I think right now when dine-in service isn't really happening, it's a little bit of a different discussion, but when hopefully things go back to normal soon and there's in-store dining, it's very, very difficult to maintain a delivery operation and without, cannibalizing that in-store dining experience. The way that delivery dispatch happens today is, if you're sitting in a fine dining restaurant and there are 15 people coming to pick up delivery orders, that's not necessarily a great in-store experience either.
Totally.
So I'd say from that perspective, it's really traditional infrastructure is not optimized for that. I think on kind of the delivery app or the third party service side, the current ecosystem from when a delivery driver has to go to 5 different locations to pick up 5 different meals, which it then takes to 5 more end consumers, that's incredibly inefficient as well. And so if we can take that many-to-many network and make it a one-to-many network, that increases, the delivery platform's margins, which hopefully then flows down to being able to offer restaurants lower commissions, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to help these restaurants survive and thrive. I think a lot of people say delivery has kind of been a lifeline for food businesses. There's also the reality that the commission structure is really, really difficult. And so if we can make the system as a whole more efficient, we're helping increase margins on the delivery app side, on the restaurant side. And hopefully we can help streamline that system.
I think
100%.
also COVID has brought to light like how difficult, how varied the tenant landlord rent situation is. Every restaurant has, there are multi-chain restaurants that have had to shut certain doors because, their landlords are not being flexible with them. We're trying to create a system where our facilities, you know what you're getting into. We're not going to gouge you on, your rent in a week or a year when you renew. We're trying to be very transparent with all of our businesses so they can scale and grow and hopefully grow with us as we expand to new markets and new locations.
Absolutely, guys. No, I totally agree. And then Camilla, you mentioned that like the whole third party thing, like not very sustainable for the restaurant business, very, very costly. Oftentimes you're taking 30 or 40% away in commissions, which is brutal, right? You talk about going from a many to many network, which is obviously massive. I have to agree with that completely. I think that's like a massive problem that we need to get fixed that you guys sound like you're fixing. So for the tenants or for the restaurants that are going to be potentially in Nimbus Kitchen, I'm assuming you're recommending like direct online ordering for them, right? Versus the third party, or is it kind of a mix?
It's really a mix. And again, because we're such a flexible rental model, we have so many different kinds of food businesses that have different distribution modes. So we have catering businesses who have their own fleet of trucks that, run their own business. We have, somebody came in today and they're delivering on Etsy. Yeah. We have people really using all of these different distribution channels. Wow. Our hope is that when we reach a certain scale, we can help our business partners and our restaurant members really negotiate favorable terms with all of these delivery apps, because at the end of the day, we are helping streamline those operations. So, once we exactly. Yeah. So that's really the hope there.
Is there, because the whole direct online ordering space for us as an agency has been a big priority because of COVID. I mean, I'll tell you, before COVID, our tagline as an agency was we turn web traffic into foot traffic, right? That was it, right? Yeah. In fact, I never pushed online ordering ever. I never wanted to do delivery. All my clients said, I don't want to do takeout. I don't want to deliver. I can drive up higher check averages in store and all this. Boom, the pandemic hit. And everyone's like, oh shit. Well, no, we got to change some things, right? So we started adapting. We started changing. In fact, and so I've been very intrigued by the takeout delivery and more specifically direct online ordering versus being reliant on these third-party apps, because you're keeping that commission, right? Now, the one thing that they obviously supply, which is massive, is they supply the system which you can order from these third-party apps, and they also supply the driver. So the next thing was figuring out how can we still figure out the delivery system, but it seems like those apps they've actually they've changed some things about the service that would make this possible. So are you guys familiar with like DoorDash Drive?
DoorDash Drive. I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. And I think, the benefit for the restaurants operating out of this space, because we have this consumer retail, front of house portion where our brands literally have their logos on the glass. We're doing events to help promote the brands operating in our back of house. They don't necessarily need the demand driver of, being on the DoorDash app or on the Uber Eats app, right? Like we are helping them with the marketing to help them stand out in this really oversaturated delivery ecosystem.
Got it. Yeah, because that for me is just genius. And I think it's so smart. People often ask me like, why would DoorDash do that? It's like, well, they actually win too. They're making something on it, obviously.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's so good. I mean, look, like literally for us, again, obviously a lot of our clients before COVID, they never even had any way to order online. Now they all do, right? And now they're all looking at this and it's finally like, boom, here we go. I mean,
right. We have had businesses who were cash only until the pandemic, who are now coming into our space and trying to figure this out. I think who are really trying to be a really affordable solution for those businesses who, it's a new frontier for everyone. Everyone's trying to figure this out. And so, to Sam's point, we're not trying to gouge people on the rent because we understand the economics of running a business are tough. It's a tough business to be in. And so, much as we can provide affordable infrastructure for them to help, to help them to, expand or grow. I think that's really our end goal.
100%. No, and it's funny because you mentioned that some restaurants that you're working with only were cash businesses. I almost feel embarrassed to say this. We had this client that, so we have our marketing funnel that as we call it, right, that we do is let's say you run an ad on social media. We drive that traffic through Messenger to capture someone's contact information. And then we would drive that customer either in store to place an order online, right? We had some restaurants that, they couldn't do in store, but they had no online ordering system. So it was literally like this really cool high-tech marketing funnel that led into clicking a button to call the restaurant to place an order. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, this is,
I miss the, when you would order delivery and you'd have the printed, menu brochures and you'd call and you'd order your Chinese food.
Yeah.
I think we need to go back to it. I mean, it's not very eco-friendly, so maybe not. I take it back.
I mean, whatever the case, it was just like, imagine yourself as the customer. Like, you see this ad for
funny.
Really cool. Have you guys heard of a 5 Napkin Burger in New York?
Yeah. Delicious.
Okay, so they're one of our clients. And we've been working with them for almost 2 years. They actually got a case study with us on Facebook. It's really cool. I'll send you guys a link to it after. They're incredible. They always do great stuff. But we have this really cool, and they're high tech. So we're able to do some really cool stuff with them. But someone else that's not like them, I mean, literally imagine being the customer. You see an ad, let's just say it's a buy one, get one burger deal. You click on the ad, you go through this really cool automated chat messenger series and you're like, whoa, what is this? And then it's, call us. That's all it is. Okay, that's all they could do. That was the only tech they had. So we had to help, but the lack of technology is hurting them. Speaking of technology,
so much of this.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say so much of this industry I feel is stuck in, the 1980s. And that's how I felt when I was looking at some of the commissaries, some of the shared commissaries. You have to call somebody to book your time slot in these kitchens.
And that were built in the 80s.
Yeah. And I was just, my mind was blown that there was this whole, underground shared kitchen world that was still so, there was no tech enablement at all. But anyway, go ahead.
So you, as you said a funny line there, you said, it's like they're marketing the restaurant like it's 1980. They're running the restaurant like it's 1980. You guys want to know I spent about $5 million a year on Facebook ads for my clients and also for myself. So I run a lot of ads, big ad guy. You want to know our agency's maybe top 2 or 3 most successful headlines of all time we've ever run? And you guys should actually use this in your marketing for getting people into your mix. The line was, stop marketing your restaurant like it's 1920. And that ad just ripped for 6 months for me. It was amazing. But you guys you did that for you guys. If you just say that, stop running your restaurant like it's 1920, join Nimbus Kitchen.
Right. So, or 2018. I mean, it hasn't really moved much.
I know. I mean,
I'm
literally.
At the marketing guru, I think we're going to have to, don't be surprised if you see a Nimbus Facebook ad next week with exactly that.
I'll quote you.
I mean, no, it's interesting though, because that's what strikes a nerve for people, because it's absolutely true. There was another restaurateur I spoke to in New York. forget exactly what it was, but they were talking about how the technology has played such an important part of their business moving forward, and especially because of COVID. Is that for you guys at Nimbus? I mean, tell me about the technology you guys are using. Is that obviously a big part of it, right? And how important is that for you guys and your clientele?
Yeah. So we are using technology for booking and billing. We're using a third-party app. It's called the Food Corridor to do all of our booking and billing through. And then we're using a restaurant management system to help with the on-the-ground operations here. We made the very intentional decision not to build out a bunch of tech before actually operating one of these facilities. I think our plan is really, we're solving for the infrastructure first. We want our restaurant partners to come in, use the space, and then really understand what the pain points are for those food businesses before, pouring $1 million into building out some app that may or may not be used. So, we're using off-the-shelf apps for sure. And then obviously there's the technology that leads into the third-party delivery apps. But we're really partnering with people as opposed to trying to build that out in-house.
We like the term complementary, not competitive. We want to partner with kind of anyone and everyone and be a solution for everyone. And then, again, the focus has been on that tech component of driving the deliveries and things like that to the space. We want to focus on the infrastructure, the operations, and give our members like a new resource and a new tool to kind of combat the big problems that they have, whether it be ingredient procurement or, recipe scaling, anything like that. So that's what our focus is on, operating this first space is finding out what those pain points are and then kind of creating a technology to help with that as well.
100%. And then you guys said, you're not trying to make like an app right now. If you were going to
really compete with DoorDash right now, I think they have a little bit of a leg up.
But let's just say you were to build some kind of app for Nimbus. What would that look like?
Well, I think we'd be able to really help our members on the on-the-ground kitchen operations side. So helping streamline efficiencies or drive efficiencies here on the space itself, as opposed to, I don't think we have any interest, and I never say never, maybe one day we'll want to do this, but we don't really have any interest in trying to build out ordering platform technology, for example. A lot of the players in the ghost kitchen space are trying to do that. Kudos to them. We are really, our philosophy is try to partner directly with, the biggest demand drivers to the space, build these relationships with, the third-party delivery platforms, with the marketing tools, all of these different technologies and food distributors, exactly. And help build those relationships for our partners as opposed to trying to build out some other app, to drive demand, quote unquote, demand to the space.
No, I completely hear you on that. Do you guys, is there a specific point of sale system that you recommend to your clientele, or is it everyone's doing their own thing?
So we have preferred partners across the board for whether it's point of sale, whether it's, a PR person. We have kind of a whole host of recommended partners. I think I don't want to, throw anybody under the bus by not including them in this recommendation, but, whether it's Toast or DoorDash or Uber Eats or Seamless, we're forming relationships with all of these different providers. And I think for certain food businesses, certain technologies make more sense.
Right.
And because we are catering to so many different kinds of food businesses, pun intended, caterers, entrepreneurs, food delivery people, it's really different solutions, kind of depending on the person.
Yeah. A lot of our clients love Toast and they love Square as point of sales.
Square, of course. See, this is why I didn't want to list people. I didn't want to leave anyone out. Square is kind of the unsung hero here. I was just talking about point of sales. One of our restaurant partners here is Roberta's Pizza. We were talking about how wonderful Square is, and I think they just started.
Square has been incredible. I mean, I have actually a number of clients are moving from Toast to Square, and I'm not a restaurateur. I'm a restaurant marketer, so I can't speak to like the absolute expertness on all this, right? I just like how they both give me a lot of technology to work with. I like how they give me a lot of, I collect a lot of emails and phone numbers from for remarketing purposes.
Absolutely.
For me, that's what I like. But the in-stores, the back of house stuff, I don't really know.
You've heard good things, and that's good.
So. Toast and Square, from what I've heard, those are the top dogs.
Is this podcast sponsored by Toast or Square? Should we continue talking about them?
No, it is not. It is. I don't make any money from saying that, but I do like them because what I will share with you guys, which is not super public yet, but somewhat public a little bit, is our agency has developed an online ordering platform that actually integrates directly into the Square point of sale system. So the beauty of that is for a restaurateur, you can actually create your entire menu through your point of sale, sync it into my system, and your menu just automatically appears there and appears on a beautiful looking website, ready to order, just like that.
Wow.
So if you guys are looking for an online ordering provider that's direct with 0% commission, is actually free for the restaurant, just let me know. We'll talk later about that.
We should sync up later about that, because we would love to add you to our preferred partner menu. I think that, well, obviously we want to learn a little bit more, but I think that would be amazing.
Of course. We'll have to set up a call.
We'll start sending customers your way.
We would love that. The other thing is, so I know you guys said that you obviously help your clientele on the marketing side, which is amazing, by the way. I think that's a huge added value that you're giving to your clientele. Talk to me about what that looks like. What's the strategy, or what are you guys looking to do for the restaurants in your space?
Well, again, it's kind of like how we're approaching all the other, support. We are not directly involved in their business. We don't take commissions on their sales. We just try to, with each customer, I'm literally on texting basis with every member, call when in whatever time of day. So we just try to help lend them to the best direction that we know how. My background is in launch marketing. So, whenever they have a question on, do you like this logo or this packaging, or we give them the feedback, and we also give them the space to present their product. And I think that's really the marketing that we provide is that personal touch, and then this front of house community space to, brand their businesses and have their logos and signage somewhere that, they don't have their own retail storefront or restaurant. So we're providing that frontage space for them to get just brand recognition in general.
We have a studio kitchen in our front of house space that's really specific for content production. So that's been really big for us. And I think that's one of the biggest surprises that, I think we always knew there was a need for that, but we've had so many photo shoots already in our space from food businesses that really run the gamut. We had someone come in who is a food waste management system, do a photo shoot here. We had someone do a photo shoot who lemon bars. It's been a really big value add to our members. And I know particularly once hopefully COVID ends soon, we'll plan on having events here as well that will really help promote our members to the broader community.
That's awesome. Guys, I'll tell you this. Our biggest pain point as an agency working with our clientele is the content. Literally, it's crazy to me. So we'll help our clients with everything, but our clients are all over America and all over Canada. So I don't have photographers everywhere running around taking pictures, right? But we're going to create the whole marketing system, and if they don't have good, clean looking photos or videos I can use in that marketing, it affects the campaign, obviously.
Yeah, we were saying it's really hard to stand out on these delivery apps, and content creation is super important. And if you're constantly trying out new items on your menu, having a space that's accessible and beautiful to shoot it in is also super key, and something that we offer here. So we're excited about that. And the things that have already been coming out of the kitchen are incredible.
And I think that really sets us apart from the other, quote unquote ghost kitchens. We are really focused on that branding, that marketing, and then the community as a whole, which frankly, we just have not seen, I think kind of surprisingly, but
as millennials, we really can see through the like bad, I think our eyes have gotten so good at like, you know, seeing the difference between something that's like high quality and not. And
yeah.
You know.
100%. No, I love what you guys are doing, by the way. I respect it a lot, and I respect that you guys are doing it at such a young age. I'm going to be 29 next month, so we're right in the same age bracket. I don't think I've actually
the old lady over here.
Hey, I'll be with you in 1 month, less than a month. I'll be 29.
Cheers.
So, but what I've never actually had someone on the podcast that's in their 20s. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
so you guys are the first, and I've done
what
about.
A momentous moment.
We're close to our second season of this podcast, so there's been a lot of episodes. That says a lot. So I respect what you guys are doing. I mean, I love it. And I mean, most people in the restaurant industry, right? They get started later. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. And I think especially for our generation, millennials, like, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. I kind of feel like we're a little bit of a lazier generation than the baby boomers. We want everything just given to us. I'm not like that. You guys definitely aren't like that. Do you guys agree to some degree at all? Or I don't know.
Yeah, we want the instant, you know, gratification. We're constantly having access to everything. So I think it makes us impatient.
Well, and I think to tie that back to just kind of like the delivery ecosystem as a whole, people want their food immediately, right? And so if we can, and our plan really is to have a national operating footprint. We plan to have between 5 and 10 of these facilities in every major metro. You know, proximity to the end consumer is really the end, you know, the name of the game. And if we can be as close to the consumers as possible, we can help delivery apps be more efficient in their delivery operations. You know, we can kind of, I don't want to say feed into that desire to have that immediate gratification, but that we can definitely serve that and kind of our, 100%. I guess, our age bracket.
And consumers, I think, are smarter and more knowledgeable and care more about, again, where their food is coming from. And something that's been missing from all of these like dark kitchens or ghost kitchens is that like transparency of like where it's coming from. So we want everyone to know like, your food is not coming from a restaurant. It's coming from Nimbus and it's safe.
I love that.
Check us out.
That is especially useful during this pandemic because people want to know, is it been safe handling? Is this okay?
Yes.
I mean, I have some employees that they haven't done any online ordering because they're hesitant. You know, they're like, I don't know. I don't know if I trust where this came from.
And do you blame them? I mean, I don't know how much in your line of work you actually tour restaurant kitchens, but some of them, you know, they're in basements, they're cockroach ridden, they don't see, nobody sees the light of day. And it's, you know, we have natural light in our kitchen, they're clean. We, you know, do regular cleanings for all of our members. And that's like a real key of our business is that, you know, we're clean, we're consumer ready, not just in that front of house space, but in the back of house as well.
I think that's amazing, guys. I love that. For you guys, obviously you guys like, I love what you're doing. How do you guys get better? What do you guys do to personally get better as individuals and business owners now?
Wow.
Great question. I have a thought on that.
Okay.
So, you know, Sam and I don't have traditional hospitality backgrounds, right? And I think so much of our job is to really learn and understand what the pain points are from the restaurant industry so we can actually help solve for those. There are 3 of us on the team right now. Our third team member, Sebastian, is an absolute rock star. He lives and breathes, you know, the industry. He grew up in restaurants. He worked at Smorgasburg, the food market here in New York. He, you know, for the past 5 years has run his own empanada business with his mom. You know, he's been amazing in helping us think through like the unique problems of these operators. But I think, you know, for Sam and I actually running this facility, again, it's just the 3 of us. So we're literally on the ground running the facility, mopping the floors, filling up the 3-compartment sink and, you know, taking the pH level of our sanitizement, like actually being on the ground has been invaluable. And I think as we continue to grow, that's something we want all of our employees to do, to really understand this is
what it takes food business and what their life is like. They do that Undercover Bosses show, but it's so interesting how few, founders actually are on the ground interacting and learning the business. They're sitting in the cushy chair and they don't know how to, clean out the grease trap. And so something that we've been doing, and if you saw my hands, you would see like you just have to get your hands dirty and you have to be okay with jumping in there and plunging the toilet if you have to. So
hopefully not a white turtleneck though, right?
What? Yeah. It's okay. You can always look cute. You still have to look good.
I love it.
But yeah, no, I think that's been something that's important and just will help us be stronger, founders and build a better community.
Yeah, you're getting there. You're understanding the problem from the ground up. You're learning. You're executing. And you're moving along day by day. But what about you as individuals? How do you guys get better? You guys individuals outside the business. Do you read any books? Do you listen to any podcasts? Exercise.
Hungry, humble, and smart. We like, I think having humility and having being open to hearing criticism, being open to I think there's people that doubt we're young, we're women, we're not in hospitality backgrounds, so there's a lot that we face, and I think we're always striving to for our own personal prove people wrong, but it's it gives us a motivation to continue to work hard. I mean, we work 18-hour days. We haven't been sleeping much in 2021, but that's just part of it. And I think, it's just continue to make us stronger partners and better business.
100%. No, I love that, guys. Hungry, humble, and smart. I'm going to use that somewhere.
Those are things we screen for those specific traits in all of our interviews. So if anybody's listening to this and they're looking to join the Nimbus team, make sure you're hungry, humble, and smart. Those are the three key things that we look for.
I love that. Have you guys, random question, have you guys ever done like a personality test, like a business personality test? For each other?
I love doing personalities.
I love them too.
I've done what is it, Myers-Briggs? I was INFJ. Yeah.
Okay.
And you were definitely
E. I have it.
Sam's definitely, we have such a complementary skill set, which has been so helpful in us divvying up work, bouncing ideas off of one another. I think it's so important to have ESFJ. You're ESFJ. What are you?
Okay. I think I'm ENTJA. I'm the commander, I think, is the name on that.
I'm a consul.
I'm blanking on what I am. I'll have to look through my files. I'll follow up.
I remember the name too. She'll remember the acronym.
Yeah, I'm the sales marketing guy too, so that's what we're very similar in that regard. But it's interesting. So like, for when we make hires, and we always recommend this to our clientele too, is whenever we make hires, I actually always make new employees, potential employees, take these personality tests, because oftentimes I think that the test can see things that you can't see in one or two, even 3 interviews, right?
Absolutely.
There's one we use that I'm a really big fan of called the DISC test. Have you guys heard of that one?
Oh, please send it our way.
Yeah, it is. My business partner can speak more to it on the specifics behind it, but it's amazing, because I think the big thing about hiring isn't just hiring the right person, but putting them in the right role, right?
Totally. And knowing how to manage them so they can succeed, what is their work ethic and how do they like to be taught, or how do they like to be, managed?
How do they like to receive feedback? What drives them? Absolutely.
Totally.
And I think to your point, you can get to some of that with interview questions, but just because somebody knocks it out of the park in an interview doesn't necessarily mean that they're perfect for that particular role you're hiring for. Please send us that test. We're actively hiring right now, so.
So anyone listening who's interested and then you guys are in New York, right? Is it Lower East Side you guys are in?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're interested, guys, Nimbus Kitchen is is killer, and they're looking to hire.
We're looking to hire. Our team is rapidly growing. Come join. It's a fun time for sure. We won't make you plunge too many toilets.
Perfect. And Sam, kind of curious, from your experience doing your marketing agency, I saw you worked with some pretty interesting clients. Really cool. I saw one was Bumble, which is interesting. That's awesome. And some other big name brands. How is that experience now correlated over to Nimbus?
Well, I think at the point that I worked with all these businesses, they didn't have like internal marketing teams, or they were very lean. You learned so much about what each different business takes to succeed. It's always a different, recipe for success, and it's different markets. When you have a product that you can produce and give out, there's a different angle. So really having like a wide understanding of like all of the different kinds of businesses, but at the core, like what is going to be the recipe for success for that business.
Got it.
I think that, the key is working hard and again, being okay to change and be able to pivot when things aren't going well. Because obviously the thing that you expect when you first start a company is not necessarily what it's going to turn out like. But constantly innovating and having that, and just being with, around good people that want to succeed is important. So. Yeah.
As I say, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? 100%. So guys, this has been really incredible. I know I've said like maybe 3 or 4 times, but I think what you guys are doing is awesome. And I think it's really cool. And I think you guys are providing a huge value, specifically in New York. I mean, man, we have a lot of clients over there too, that it's been a tough time, and they are looking for these other outside solutions. I think any restaurateur probably is thinking about this like, damn, this is kind of interesting to me. I mean, at least I would imagine. It's really cool what you guys are doing. For anyone who wants to learn more about you guys, maybe both yourselves and Nimbus, how do they do so?
Please go to our website, www.nimbuskitchen.com. You can also email us at hello@nimbuskitchen.com. I almost just plugged our cell phone numbers because we do.
You can call me on my cell phone. It's fine. Everyone does.
Okay.
Or, we're on Instagram, Nimbus Kitchen.
We'd love to talk with any food business, whether they're looking for flexible kitchen space, whether you are, a business that, if you're a distributor or marketing agency or whatever, like we'd love to connect with you. I think we're always looking to connect with people in the industry and see how we can work together to help be a really strong solution for all of the members of our space.
100%. Also, one other question.
Pick up Roberta's Pizza or whatever, food they want from our space as well.
I love it.
Side, 196 Stanton Street.
Perfect. And then one other question. I talked this kind of the last podcast, and I'm kind of curious, and I've just gotten onto it because a lot of our clients have been asking about it. Are you guys using TikTok too, or no?
We were laughing.
I actually don't even have a TikTok.
Me neither. Should we get one?
I don't know. She's a phenomenal dancer. She does some really great.
So only reason I got on it is a lot of restaurant clients are asking me about it. And the way I look at it is, if you look at like social viral content over the years, food content's always been up there, and TikTok's video focused, obviously, and things go viral quite often. I mean, I don't know. I'm not running that as a service for my agency yet, but I got a TikTok. I've been posting on it. I got a few thousand followers new from some cool stuff I've done.
Well, any food influencers can come to our space and film really cool content in our front of house or our back of house. Maybe we should get a TikTok.
We might have.
It's interesting. You guys have that cool studio. I figure, hey, you know what? I don't know, maybe. But just a thought.
We're great. I mean, the obvious one is YouTubers. Like a lot of YouTube influencers can come and use this space, but of course, TikTok. We're a great platform for that.
TikTok is blowing up.
It just TikTokers.
It just passed Facebook on.
We should ingratiate ourselves into the world of TikTok.
They just passed.
Sucked in though. It's like a vortex.
No, it is like a vortex, but they just passed Facebook on daily active users. So, or time spent per user or something like that. So that's why I'm like, I'm thinking about this now, you know? So
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. For the Facebook ad guru, you know, maybe you got to start changing over.
If I'm looking over that means that I think there's things happening, but it's interesting. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for today. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
If you guys are ever in LA, let us know. Let me know. We'll have to hang out, grab a coffee or something. You guys are awesome. 100%.
Come visit us in New York. We'll feed you.
Absolutely. I would absolutely love that. I'll think about you guys next time I come in. But anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Here.
I would love that. Thank you guys.